The galaxy's edge shimmered with the eerie beauty of distant nebulas, each painting the vast, infinite void with hues of violet and gold. For the crew of the Solaris Vanguard, this backdrop was nothing new, until the peculiar distress signal lit up their dashboard. It wasn't the kind of distress call laden with desperate cries or static-filled screams. Instead, it was a looping message composed of cheerful whistling, occasionally interrupted by an odd, rhythmic tapping that almost sounded like applause. Commander Althea Marsden leaned over the console, her sharp emerald eyes narrowing as she analyzed the strange transmission. "This isn't a distress signal," she muttered, her voice calm yet edged with curiosity. "It's some kind of invitation." "An invitation to what?" grumbled Lieutenant Zeke Harrow, slouched in his chair. The grizzled veteran scratched the gray stubble on his jawline and cast a wary glance at the monitor. "A trap, maybe. You know how these deep space anomalies go. Nothing good ever comes from chasing strange signals." Beside him, Ensign Mia Thorne tilted her head, her youthful features lighting up with a mix of apprehension and excitement. "But what if it's not a trap? What if it's, I don't know, someone trying to communicate in their own way? We'd be the first to document it." Zeke rolled his eyes. "Yeah, kid. First to document it, last to live to tell the tale." "Enough." Althea straightened, her presence commanding. "Protocol dictates we investigate any unusual signals in uncharted space. Besides," she added, her lips curving into a faint, almost mischievous smile, "I'm curious." Curiosity wasn't something the Solaris Vanguard could afford to indulge lightly. As a scout ship tasked with exploring the fringes of the galaxy, their mission was simple: map the unknown, document anomalies, and above all, avoid unnecessary risks. Yet, the signal's whimsical nature was hard to ignore. It almost felt like it was daring them to come closer. "Ensign Thorne, pinpoint the source," Althea ordered. Mia's fingers danced across the console. "It's coming from within the Veil Nebula," she said, her voice tinged with awe. "That's uncharted territory. No records of any known civilizations. Perfect place for an ambush," Zeke muttered, earning a glare from Althea. "Zeke, prepare for potential hostilities," Althea said. Mia set a course. "Let's see who, or what, is behind this." The Solaris Vanguard cut through the expanse, its sleek hull gleaming under the nebula's radiant glow. As they approached the source of the signal, the ship's sensors picked up an object drifting among the swirling cosmic dust, a massive, ornate structure resembling a floating amphitheater. Its surface shimmered with shifting patterns, as though alive with light and sound. "That's no ordinary ship," Mia breathed, her eyes wide. "It's performing," Althea said, tilting her head. The patterns on the structure seemed to synchronize with the rhythm of the signal, creating a mesmerizing display. "Performing?" Zeke scoffed. "Great. We're about to be serenaded to death by an alien opera house." Althea ignored him. "Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves." Mia complied, broadcasting a standard greeting. "This is the Solaris Vanguard, a vessel of the United Earth Federation. We come in peace and seek to establish contact. Please respond." For a moment, there was silence. Then, the signal changed. The whistling and tapping grew louder, more insistent, until a voice, deep and resonant, boomed through their speakers. "Ah, humanity! The legends are true," the voice declared, each word dripping with theatrical flair. "Welcome, welcome! You are just in time for the galaxy's grand tournament of champions." Mia blinked. "Tournament? What tournament?" The voice continued, unperturbed by their confusion. "You have been chosen to represent your species in a test of wit, skill, and strength. Prove yourselves, and you shall earn glory beyond measure. Fail, and well, let's not dwell on such unpleasant possibilities." "Definitely a trap," Zeke said, reaching for his sidearm. But Althea's gaze remained fixed on the amphitheater, her mind racing. "Why us?" she asked. "How did you even know we were here?" "Why, because humanity is infamous across the galaxy, of course," the voice replied, almost gleeful. "Your species is a paradox, fragile yet indomitable, chaotic yet cunning. The tales of your exploits precede you. Now, will you accept the challenge, or shall I summon the next contender? Zeke snorted. We didn't come all this way to play games. Games? The voice boomed, sounding offended. This is no mere game. It is the ultimate test of survival and ingenuity, a tradition as old as the stars themselves. Althea raised a hand, silencing Zeke. What happens if we refuse? A heavy pause followed, the kind that sent chills down their spines. Then, the voice replied, refusal would be most unfortunate. For you and for the galaxy at large. Commander, Mia whispered. I don't like the sound of that. Neither did Althea. Yet, there was something about the voice's tone, an edge of sincerity beneath its theatrical bravado. Whoever, or whatever, was behind this tournament clearly believed in its importance. And if humanity truly was as infamous as the voice claimed, walking away might invite greater danger. Althea's decision was swift. We accept your challenge. Zeke groaned. Of course we do. The amphitheater lit up in response, its patterns shifting into a vibrant, kaleidoscopic swirl. Splendid! The voice exclaimed. Prepare yourselves, humans. Your first trial begins, now! Before anyone could react, a blinding light enveloped the Solaris vanguard, and the crew felt a strange, weightless sensation. When the light faded, they found themselves standing in an enormous arena, its walls adorned with alien glyphs and pulsating lights. Surrounding them were dozens of other contestants, alien beings of every shape and size, some towering like giants, others barely reaching knee-height. Well, Zeke said, surveying the bizarre crowd, this is shaping up to be one hell of a first contact. The voice returned, now resonating from every corner of the arena. Contestants! The rules are simple: survive, adapt, and prevail. Only the strongest will proceed to the next round. Let the tournament begin! As the ground beneath them shifted and the arena transformed into a chaotic maze of traps and obstacles, Althea drew a deep breath. The stakes were higher than she'd imagined, but she knew one thing for certain: humanity had faced impossible odds before. And they weren't about to lose now. The arena was chaos incarnate. The floor rippled beneath their feet, transforming into uneven terrain that forced the contestants to adapt quickly. Jagged platforms jutted out from the walls, some crumbling as soon as they were stepped on. Pulsing beams of light shot across the expanse, forcing everyone to dodge, duck, or risk being incinerated. Above it all, the booming voice provided dramatic commentary, amplifying the tension. Behold, the trial of endurance! The announcer proclaimed, delight dripping from every word. Let us see who among you can withstand the unyielding gauntlet of the galaxy's finest perils. Commander Althea Marsden kept her composure, scanning the chaos with sharp, calculating eyes. Around her, alien competitors scrambled in all directions. Some demonstrated extraordinary abilities, levitating over obstacles or phasing through walls, while others relied on brute strength or sheer luck to navigate the mayhem. We need a plan, Althea said, grabbing Lieutenant Zeke Harrow's arm to keep him steady as the floor trembled again. Plan? Survive long enough to see the next sunrise, Zeke grumbled, swatting away a cluster of small, darting drones that had started circling him like mosquitoes. One exploded with a loud pop as his fist connected, sending a shower of sparks across his armored glove. These little pests are getting on my nerves. Ensign Mia Thorne, crouching nearby, was furiously tapping away on a small device she'd managed to grab before the ship disappeared. Her eyes darted between the screen and the arena, her lips pressed into a tight line. I'm trying to figure out the layout. The walls and platforms seem to be moving in a pattern. It's not random. Good, Althea said, her tone clipped. Zeke, keep the drones off us. Mia, find us a path. We don't have the luxury of brute forcing our way through this. As if to punctuate her point, a hulking alien with scaled, emerald skin roared nearby, tearing through a collapsing wall with terrifying ease. Its 3 eyes gleamed with predatory focus, scanning for weaker targets. Althea watched as the creature hurled a smaller, spider-like competitor into the path of an oncoming laser, the unfortunate victim disintegrating instantly. Yeah, I don't think I'm wrestling that guy, Zeke muttered, gripping his sidearm tightly. Let's avoid him, Althea said firmly. Mia, any luck? Yes. Mia's face lit up, sweat dripping down her temple. The platforms are cycling in a clockwise spiral. If we time it right, we can get to the center of the arena. I think that's where we need to be. The center? Zeke asked, raising an eyebrow. You sure about that? Sounds like a death trap. It's the only part of the arena that hasn't changed yet, Mia explained. Everything else is shifting, but the middle has stayed stable. That can't be a coincidence. All right, Althea said, nodding. We make for the center. Zeke, watch our backs. Mia, lead the way. The trio moved as one, darting between platforms and avoiding hazards as best they could. Althea's military training kicked in, her movements precise and efficient. Zeke provided cover, his gruff demeanor masking the sharp instincts of a seasoned soldier. Mia, despite her youth and inexperience, proved invaluable, her keen mind analyzing patterns and predicting changes with remarkable accuracy. They weren't the only ones making progress. Several other contestants had noticed the stability of the central platform, and were converging on it as well. Among them was a lithe, feline-like creature that leapt gracefully from one platform to another, its silver fur shimmering under the arena's harsh lights. Another was a squat, armored alien resembling a walking tank, its steps causing the ground to quake. Great, Zeke said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. It's a race to see who gets there first, and who gets crushed in the process. The arena responded to their advance with even greater challenges. The laser beams became faster and more erratic, forcing them to dive and roll to avoid being vaporized. The drones increased in number, swarming like angry hornets. At one point, a section of the floor collapsed entirely, revealing a churning pit of molten metal below. This just keeps getting better, Zeke growled, narrowly avoiding a drone that zipped past his ear. Focus, Althea snapped, pulling him back from the edge of the pit. We're almost there. As they neared the central platform, a new complication arose. The towering, emerald-scaled alien they noticed earlier was already there, standing in the middle like a self-proclaimed king. It roared, baring razor-sharp teeth, and slammed its fists against its chest in a clear challenge. Commander, Mia whispered, her voice trembling. I don't think it's going to let us share the space. Althea's eyes narrowed. Then we'll have to outsmart it. Before she could elaborate, the feline creature arrived, landing with feline precision on the platform's edge. It hissed at the scaled alien, the two locking eyes in a tense standoff. The armored tank-like alien wasn't far behind, plowing through obstacles with single-minded determination. This is a powder keg waiting to blow, Zeke muttered. Good, Althea said, a small smile playing on her lips. Let them fight. It'll give us the opening we need. Sure enough, the scaled alien lunged at the feline creature, its massive claws swiping through the air. The feline dodged with uncanny agility, retaliating with swift, calculated strikes. The tank-like alien joined the fray moments later, its heavy blows shaking the platform. Amid the chaos, Althea motioned for her team to move. Now. Stay low and stay quiet. They crept onto the platform, weaving through the melee as the alien combatants focused on each other. Mia led the way, her small stature making her less noticeable. Zeke followed, his bulk harder to conceal but his movements surprisingly nimble. Althea brought up the rear, her sharp gaze scanning for any signs of danger. They reached the center of the platform just as the tank-like alien let out a bellow of pain, one of its limbs torn off by the scaled behemoth. The feline creature, sensing an opportunity, pounced, its claws sinking into the larger alien's vulnerable flank. Commander, Mia said, her voice urgent. There's something here. Some kind of console. Althea crouched beside her, examining the strange device. It was sleek and alien in design, with glowing symbols that pulsed rhythmically. Can you operate it? I can try, Mia said, her fingers hesitating before she began pressing the symbols in a careful sequence. As the device activated, the platform trembled, and a shield of shimmering energy enveloped the central area, separating them from the battling aliens. The scaled behemoth roared in frustration, its claws raking against the barrier. "We did it!" Mia exclaimed, her face alight with relief. "For now," Althea said, her tone cautious. "This is only the first trial. Whatever comes next, we need to be ready." The voice returned, booming with approval. "Impressive, humans! You have survived the trial of endurance. But do not rest easy, the true challenges lie ahead." As the arena began to shift once more, Althea couldn't help but smile grimly. They had made it through the first gauntlet, but the stakes were only getting higher. If humanity was to live up to its fearsome reputation, they would need every ounce of ingenuity, courage, and determination they could muster. The momentary triumph of surviving the first trial quickly dissolved as the arena underwent another transformation. The shield surrounding the central platform faded, leaving the battered contestants exposed once again. Above them, the booming voice continued its theatrical narration. "Congratulations, champions! You have proven your endurance, but now comes the true test of strength and cunning, the trial of dominion." The arena reconfigured with breathtaking speed, as if it were alive. Platforms rose and fell, merging to form massive battlegrounds. Pillars of obsidian jutted skyward, some crumbling under their own weight. Pools of liquid metal bubbled ominously, and spiked barriers erupted from the ground. The air grew dense, humming with an unseen energy that set the hairs on their necks on edge. In the center of it all, a massive crystalline structure began to emerge, hovering above the chaos. It pulsed with a steady, hypnotic light, as if beckoning the remaining contestants. "That doesn't look good," Zeke muttered, his eyes narrowing. Mia squinted at the glowing crystal, her mind racing. "It's emitting a signal, something strong enough to resonate across dimensions. I think we're supposed to capture it." "Capture the glowing doom crystal? Sure, why not?" Zeke said with a sardonic grin. "This is shaping up to be my favorite mission yet." Althea ignored his sarcasm, her sharp gaze darting between the crystal and the other competitors. The hulking scaled alien from before was still standing, its emerald hide scarred but unyielding. The feline creature moved with predatory grace, its silver fur streaked with grime. The armored tank alien, though injured, lumbered forward with relentless determination. And those were just the survivors they could see. Others lurked in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. "This isn't just a free-for-all," Althea said, her voice low. "The crystal is the objective, but the arena is designed to funnel us into conflict. It wants us to fight for control." "Fantastic," Zeke grunted. "So, what's the plan, boss?" Althea's mind raced. They couldn't rely on brute strength, not when the other competitors were far stronger physically. Their only advantage was their adaptability, their ability to think on their feet and use unconventional strategies. "Mia," Althea said, "can you hack into the crystal signal? Figure out what it's doing?" Mia hesitated, her brow furrowing. "Maybe, but I'd need to get close." "Really close? Then that's what we'll do," Althea decided. "Zeke, you're on defense. Keep the others off Mia while she works. I'll handle distractions." "Distractions? What kind of?" Zeke began, but Althea had already taken off, sprinting toward a series of jagged platforms that led to the crystal. Zeke shook his head, muttering under his breath. "Crazy. She's absolutely crazy." The chaos intensified as the competitors converged on the crystal. The scaled alien roared, swiping at anyone who dared approach, its claws carving deep gouges into the obsidian pillars. The feline creature darted between platforms, using its speed and agility to evade attacks. The tank-like alien charged forward, its sheer bulk smashing through barriers as if they were paper. Althea moved with precision, her every step calculated. She leapt from platform to platform, drawing the attention of the scaled alien with a well-aimed shot from her sidearm. The creature roared in fury, abandoning its assault on a smaller competitor to focus on her instead. "Come on, you oversized lizard," she muttered, ducking beneath a swipe that would have taken her head off. She fired again, this time aiming for the creature's vulnerable eyes. The shot grazed its face, earning another enraged bellow. Meanwhile, Mia and Zeke made their way toward the crystal. Mia's hands trembled as she clutched her hacking device, her mind racing with calculations. "I just need a few minutes," she said, her voice barely audible over the din of battle. "You've got one," Zeke replied, his tone grim. He stood guard, his sidearm blazing as he picked off smaller drones and competitors that dared come too close. When the feline creature leapt toward them, its claws extended, Zeke met it with a brutal kick that sent it sprawling. "Stay back, kitty," he growled. Mia reached the crystal, her heart pounding. Up close, it was even more mesmerizing. Its surface seemed to ripple like water, and the light emanating from within pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She connected her device, her fingers flying across the controls as she worked to decipher its alien code. "I'm in," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of awe and fear. It's some kind of control hub. The arena, the traps, the barriers, they're all connected to this. Can you shut it down?" Zeke asked, firing another shot at an approaching drone. "I don't know," Mia admitted. "The code it's alive, almost. It's like it's resisting me." "Then fight back," Zeke said. "We're running out of time." Althea continued her dance of evasion, drawing the scaled alien away from Mia and Zeke. Her breaths came in short, sharp bursts, her muscles screaming in protest, but she didn't falter. Every movement, every shot was deliberate, designed to frustrate and distract her opponent. "You're not so tough," she taunted, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Is that the best you've got?" The alien roared, lunging at her with a ferocity that shook the platform beneath her. Althea leapt to the side, narrowly avoiding its claws. She landed in a crouch, her sidearm raised, and fired again, this time hitting a weak spot in its shoulder. The creature staggered, but it didn't fall. "Any time now, Mia," Althea murmured, her eyes flicking toward the crystal. Mia's fingers flew over the controls, her mind racing as she fought against the crystal's defenses. The alien code seemed to shift and adapt with every keystroke, as if it were alive. Sweat dripped down her face, but she didn't stop. "I'm almost there," she said, her voice tight with concentration. "I just need—" A deafening roar cut her off as the tank-like alien charged toward her. Zeke stepped in its path, firing his sidearm repeatedly, but the creature barely flinched. With a desperate yell, Zeke threw himself at the alien, grappling with it in a clash of brute strength and sheer will. "Mia!" he shouted. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster!" Mia blocked out the chaos around her, focusing entirely on the code. With one final, desperate push, she found the crystal's core command structure and input a sequence she hoped would work. The crystal's light flared, blinding everyone in the arena. For a moment, everything went still. Then the crystal emitted a low, resonant hum, and the entire arena trembled. Platforms crumbled, barriers collapsed, and the remaining competitors were thrown off balance. The scaled alien fell to its knees, clutching its head as if in pain. The feline creature yelled, retreating into the shadows. Mia stepped back, her chest heaving. I did it," she whispered. "I think I shut it down." The booming voice returned, this time laced with a mixture of amusement and approval. "Humans, you never cease to surprise. You have conquered the trial of Dominion. But the final test awaits." Althea regrouped with her team, her eyes meeting Mia's with a mixture of pride and determination. "You did good, Mia," she said, placing a hand on the ensign's shoulder. "But we're not done yet." As the arena began to shift once more, Althea steeled herself for the challenges ahead. They had come this far, against impossible odds. Whatever the final trial entailed, she knew one thing for certain. They wouldn't back down. The final transformation of the arena was unlike anything they had seen before. The chaotic platforms, glowing barriers, and molten traps gave way to a stark, featureless expanse that seemed to stretch into infinity. The ground beneath them was smooth and mirror-like, reflecting a sky that shimmered with shifting constellations. It was eerily silent, save for the hum of an unseen energy thrumming all around them. In the distance, a massive obelisk began to rise, its surface inscribed with alien glyphs that glowed faintly. The obelisk pulsated with a rhythm that matched their heartbeats, as if it were alive and aware of their presence. "Behold!" the booming voice announced, its theatrical tone replaced with something colder, more solemn. "The trial of the infinite mind. This final test will determine if you are worthy of standing among the galaxy's greatest champions." Commander Althea Marsden tightened her grip on her sidearm, her gaze fixed on the obelisk. "This feels different." "No kidding," Zeke Harrow muttered, scanning the endless expanse. "No traps, no monsters. Just nothing." "It's not nothing," Ensign Mia Thorne said, her voice trembling with both fear and curiosity. "That obelisk, it's emitting signals. Something powerful. I think it's trying to connect with us." "Connect?" Zeke raised an eyebrow. "That doesn't sound good." Mia nodded, her fingers clutching her portable device as if it were a lifeline. "The signal is probing, searching for weaknesses. It's not just a physical test anymore, it's mental, emotional. It's testing who we are." Althea's jaw tightened. "Then we face it. Together." The three of them stepped forward, the reflective surface rippling beneath their feet like water. As they approached the obelisk, the air grew heavier, pressing down on them with an almost suffocating weight. The glyphs on the obelisk began to shift, rearranging themselves into symbols and images that seemed oddly familiar. "What the hell is that?" Zeke said, pointing at the obelisk. The glyphs had coalesced into a vivid projection of Earth, a blue-green orb spinning serenely in the void of space. As they watched, the image zoomed in, showing scenes from human history, cities rising and falling, wars raging, people laughing and crying. The montage was overwhelming, a kaleidoscope of triumph and tragedy that seemed to encompass the entirety of human existence. "It's showing us," Mia whispered, her eyes wide. "Our history, our struggles. It's trying to understand what makes us human." The obelisk's hum deepened, and the images shifted again. This time, they were no longer passive observers. Each of them saw something deeply personal, a memory or fear that struck at the core of their being. For Zeke, it was the face of his younger brother, pale and lifeless, lying in the wreckage of a battlefield long ago. The guilt of surviving when others hadn't, the weight of decisions he couldn't take back, pressed on him like a crushing tide. For Mia, it was the small, cluttered apartment she'd grown up in, her parents' hushed arguments filling the air. The pressure to succeed, to escape the life they'd sacrificed so much to give her, clawed at her with relentless ferocity. For Althea, it was the endless void of space, a haunting reminder of her own isolation. The faces of her crew, her family, flickered like fading stars, reminding her of the lives that depended on her every decision. "I don't like this," Zeke growled, his fists clenched. "Whatever it's doing, it's digging too deep." "It's more than that," Mia said, her voice trembling. "It's not just showing us our fears, it's amplifying them. It wants to see how we'll react." Althea closed her eyes, forcing herself to breathe through the rising tide of anxiety. "Then we show it what humanity does best. We push through." The obelisk's glow intensified, and a new projection appeared, this one far more ominous. The reflective ground around them darkened, transforming into a battlefield strewn with the wreckage of ships and the bodies of fallen warriors. Alien figures emerged from the shadows, their forms distorted and menacing. "Here we go again," Zeke said, raising his sidearm. "No," Althea said sharply, stopping him. "This isn't real. It's another test, an illusion designed to provoke us." The aliens charged, their weapons gleaming with deadly intent. Despite Althea's warning, Zeke fired instinctively, his shots striking true. The figures dissolved into nothingness, but for every one that fell, two more appeared. "Fighting won't end this," Althea said, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Mia, can you interface with the obelisk? Shut it down like you did the crystal?" Mia shook her head, panic creeping into her voice. "It's not like the crystal. This is alive. It's not just a machine, it's thinking." "Then think back," Althea said. Show it who we are. What we're capable of. Mia hesitated, then nodded, her resolve hardening. She stepped forward, her hands trembling as she reached out to touch the obelisk. The moment her fingers made contact, the battlefield around them froze, the alien figures halting mid-charge. The obelisk's hum deepened, and a voice, different from the booming announcer, spoke directly into their minds. It was calm, almost curious. Who are you to claim dominion among the stars? What makes your kind worthy? Mia's lips parted, but no words came. Her mind raced, grappling with the enormity of the question. Althea stepped forward, her voice firm. We're human. We're not perfect, but we endure. We adapt. We fight not just for survival, but for each other. That's what makes us worthy. The obelisk pulsed, as if considering her words. The battlefield dissolved, replaced by a serene landscape of stars. The oppressive weight in the air lifted, and the voice spoke again, its tone softer. You have shown resilience, unity, and resolve. Humanity's legacy is one of both destruction and creation. Perhaps there is value in your paradox. The obelisk began to fade, its light dimming. The voice echoed one final time. You have passed the trial of the infinite mind. Go forth and carry your kind's potential to the stars. With a flash of light, the arena dissolved entirely. The crew of the Solaris Vanguard found themselves back aboard their ship, the alien amphitheater a distant memory. For a moment, none of them spoke. Then Zeke let out a low whistle. Well, that was a hell of a day. Mia smiled faintly, exhaustion etched into her features. I think we just proved humanity's reputation. Althea glanced at the stars outside, her expression unreadable. We've earned the galaxy's attention. Let's make sure we're worthy of it. As the Solaris Vanguard resumed its journey into the unknown, the crew carried with them the weight of their trial, and the promise of what humanity could achieve among the stars.